Nice haircut, Blake. You see that? Is that you or Jeffrey? Is that Isaiah? I could have sworn I heard somebody say nice haircut, but
Maybe.
I got a haircut, so I was just.
Looks nice.
Well, welcome to 2 Minute Warning. I'm Blake Showalter.
Now I'm Beto Vacadillas.
And we're starting off today with the NBA playoff picture after that start. Thanks, guys. But anyway.
Yeah, obviously the NBA season ended on Sunday, so a lot to look forward to with the playoffs. Obviously the playoffs, most electric time of the year,
Absolutely.
In my opinion. A lot of good games coming up. The Hawks and the Heat, the Timberwolves and the Lakers both take place tomorrow, which is Tuesday. We're filming on Monday. And then the Raptors and the Bulls looking to take on each other Wednesday for the play-in. And then the Thunder and the Pelicans. A lot of good games to look forward to, but more than anything, I'm here thinking about the teams that didn't make the play-in. Just really disappointing. One that we had really high hopes for, the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, man, and that was I'm still kind of hurt about it, to be honest. I was really looking forward to seeing that combination between Luka and Kyrie, and unfortunately it just kind of fell into shambles, to be honest. I like Kyrie as a player. We're not going to talk about his off-the-field antics at all. We're going to leave that to the side. We're going to talk about how he plays on the court. I love the way he plays. The handles are insane, but it's like almost too much chefs in the kitchen, it seems like, and I wish he could play better at Luka. I was hoping for like a LeBron and Kyrie sort of deal, but maybe a little more equal in playing time or ball control sort of deal. But it just didn't work out that way, and they ended up going on that long losing streak and losing all those games at the end of the season, and a team that we were sure was going to be in the playoff picture and hopefully even go down to the finals picture, I was hoping, or really thought they would, but absolutely fell apart near the end. Just couldn't figure things out, and really unfortunate stuff.
Yeah, really disappointing. Luka at the beginning of the season putting up MVP numbers and looking to make this team a league winner. It's just really disappointing to see how it can go from a fall from grace. Just something to note is this is the second season in a row Luka has led the league in turnovers. So that could be a huge factor into why the Dallas Mavericks are not making it in the playoffs. So it could be something of note. It could be Kyrie. It could be Luka. Who knows? But I think next year they'll have a little bit more time, a little more chemistry to build, and hopefully they can come back and actually win in one of the most terrifying divisions one of the two, I think the more terrifying division in the NBA, the West. And so I'm really excited to see what they can do coming into next season and what they can do in playoffs next season. But for now, we're stuck here with the Hawks and the Heat, the Bulls and the Raptors, the Thunder and Pelicans, and a game that I think is going to be really interesting, the Timberwolves and the Lakers. The stuff that's coming out of the Timberwolves camp is just crazy right now. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I haven't seen that. But one more thing I want to say about Dallas is I've heard and I've read rumors about the fact that there's no leadership, to be honest. And I really thought Luka was a better leader than that, but I heard stories when Spencer Dinwiddie was on the team, and we talked about it a little bit, how I was kind of upset they got rid of Spencer Dinwiddie, sent off to the Nets, because apparently, and more than I thought, great guy for the bench, really good leadership, and apparently that's what's lacking for Dallas right now. I just wanted to add that real quick, but yeah, some crazy stuff coming out of the Timberwolves. Throwing hands on the bench, man.
That's just insane. I don't understand how a team like this can be going to the playoffs with almost no unity. Obviously, Rudy Gobert throwing hands at his Kyle Anderson, his teammate, gets suspended for it. They're out a star center against a Lakers team who looked really, really good. LeBron James, 30-plus points in his last game, has been playing really well after coming off that foot injury. And also, Jaden McDaniels with a fractured hand. Like, how is the Timberwolves going to compete against a Lakers team that has momentum going forward? So I think the Lakers can sweep the Timberwolves, make it to the next round of playoffs really easily. So I'm really excited for that game. A lot of unknowns and a lot of good variables we got to look at there.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest. I think people are sleeping on the Lakers a little bit, not going to lie. And one guy who they're not talking about, which I wish they would, it's almost as if when he immediately went up to the Lakers, people stopped talking about him or paying attention to him, but D'Angelo Russell has been playing out of his mind right now. He looks really, really good. I expect him to have a really, really good series, or really good game versus Timberwolves, rather. Sorry, I'm thinking MLB right now for some reason. We're going to talk that later, possibly.
Against his former team, too.
Yeah, against his former team. That's going to be crazy. I think he's going to have a big appearance, to be honest. So I honestly think the Lakers are going to win this one.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just looking at LeBron, the way he's been playing, like you mentioned, D'Angelo Russell playing out of his mind, maybe with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder that he was traded to the Lakers. So I'm excited to see what goes down. I say LeBron drops 40 in the next game. What do you think?
I don't know, man. Old man LeBron at this point. I'm not counting him out, obviously. I think if he does win it all this year, which I highly doubt he'll do, I think he's definitely the GOAT, to be honest. But highly doubt it's going to happen, to be real. But, yeah, I expect a big game, honestly, from D'Angelo Russell, to be honest.
Couldn't agree more. Down Rudy Gobert, who has been a disappointing sighting. Down Jalen McDaniels. And just looking into a good Lakers team, easy win for Lakers.
Well, speaking of the Timberwolves are down, one team that just went up a player is the Ravens signing OBJ. $15 million contract with a chance to make $18 million in the contract just for 1 year. I wanted the Jets to get him real bad, but I am glad we did not pay that check. Word was that OBJ gave the Jets a chance to match that contract, and my boy Joe Douglas said, I'm good, I'm going to pass on that for real. But you know what? Good for him. Now, who's he going to be catching passes from? Tyler Huntley, Lamar Jackson? Who's it going to be? That's the real question. You see that FaceTime call with Lamar Jackson and OBJ making it seem like Lamar Jackson was recruiting them the entire time, but I mean, time will only tell.
Yeah, obviously a really, really good signing for the Ravens. He's going to come in and be wide receiver number 1.
Oh, no doubt.
Which is crazy because he's been out of the league for a whole year. Just looking at their depth chart, they have Rashad Bateman, Demarcus Robinson. No one is on the level of Odell Beckham Jr. And looking what he did for that Rams team, came in later in the half of the season, scored some touchdowns here and there, showed up in big plays, even had one in the Super Bowl. Like, that's something that the Ravens can really look forward to. Maybe even actually convince Lamar to stay at least for a little bit more. Just to get the chance to play with OBJ because he has now a weapon.
Or at least play on that franchise tag.
Yeah, on the franchise tag.
Being that OBJ did it only signed for 1 year. So that could be something. But one thing I'm kind of curious about, and yes, it was only one receiver, but you know what? Wide receivers add up over time. Will Ravens be a place where wide receivers go to die? Who knows? Des Bryant passed away in his football career there. Is OBJ next? Who knows? It's going to be interesting how he does with his ACL. But he looked really good in the videos I've seen. Looks really good there. So it's going to be interesting to see how his mobility plays out with Lamar Jackson. And he's obviously going to be the wide receiver 1, so targets won't be really a factor in how well he plays. He's going to be getting a lot. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting stuff.
Yeah, and I think for fantasy football, people will sleep on his value. So wait and draft him.
I think he's going to go. I think he's going to go before the 4th round in fantasy, though. I think people are going to be taking him, especially because he is the only wide receiver, other than Mark Andrews, target-wise, for the Ravens. But
yeah, but we all know Lamar doesn't throw much, but that's okay.
I mean, he's been a better pocket passer. He looked better in the pocket at the beginning of this year until he got injured. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But moving on, our last topic of the day, we're going to finish off with a amazing card. UFC 287, King Izzy back at it with the KO. Oh my God, what a right hand to put Alex Pereira to sleep.
Amazing.
I don't know how I feel about him mocking his children. I know his kid mocked Izzy, but the dude was like 5. So weird person to be petty with, but you know what? I still love it. Izzy's one of my favorite fighters in the entire game. And that knockout, I was screaming. I was so excited.
I jumped out of my chair and just like flailing my arms. I was rooting for Izzy the whole time. I did not think like I was talking about. I think last week our episode was that Pereira would get him 4 times in a row, but I didn't know. And then out of nowhere, just a huge knockout to cap off the legacy and maybe even send Pereira out to 205. Like I'm super excited. I was super excited. I jumped out of my seat. Just like Volkanovski watching it, his reaction to it exactly the same way. And so, but a lot of questions now open up from that. What happens to the middleweight division? Because Israel Adesanya has beaten all 5 of the top-ranked middleweights, some of them more than once, like Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future. Does he fight the number 6 ranked middleweight? Does he move and try to find a new opponent? Does Pereira come back and he fight for the trilogy? Does Khamzat move up? So many questions. What do you think there?
It's Whittaker or Pereira. That's it for Izzy, I think. And the reason why I say that is because Pereira, it is 1-1. So usually you got to get a trilogy there. But Whittaker's also been grinding through the rankings. And he's been looking really good as well. Much better than in their last appearance, I think. I think that could be posing real problems for Izzy if they fight again. I think Izzy honestly wants that fight, probably by decision. But yeah, and real quick, just to break down, because I think we should break down how Izzy got that knockdown. It was just absolutely beautiful. You were talking about it a little bit earlier. We were texting that night about it. The way that he just wrapped up made him think that he was hurt and then just unleashed with the right hand. And you know what? You want to talk about that weight cut for Pereira, which is why I think he might go to 205. I don't think he gets knocked out if he's not fully, but cuts less weight. I think if he has more time to recover, I mean, that cut is absolutely brutal. And for people that don't know, when you cut that much weight, it's much, much easier to get knocked out. So maybe he cut too far down. Maybe he lost his chin a little bit from that. I'm glad that Izzy was a beneficiary to that, but you know that's going to be a real question that Pereira has to answer in his next camp, whether he wants to go up in a weight class. I think he'd be absolutely lethal at 205. I think that'd be the right move for him. I think he'd be dominant. I honestly don't know who beats him at 205. I think he absolutely torches Jamal Hill. I love Jamal Hill, so I hate saying that. But, just watching that fight, it was a beautiful knockout, to be honest. The way he totally trapped him in and, as I said, unleashed that right hand was beautiful. But I think Pereira has to go to 205.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Obviously, Glover Teixeira has one of his close friends, and someone in his corner has been talking about him moving up to 205 for a long time and even teased heavyweight, which is preposterous to think. But looking at the size, like you mentioned, his weight cut and how big he is, like it would not seem crazy for him to go to 205 or even heavyweight and match up with the likes of at 205 Jamal Hill, or one that I think would be a great matchup for him, Yuri Prohaska, another wild striker with crazy power. That's just a great fight in the making right there. But if he goes to heavyweight, I mean, that would be wild. He does have the power for it, as we've seen. He's probably like the hardest pound-for-pound hitter in the whole UFC. I'd wager that, right up there with Justin Gaethje, maybe.
I think that would literally be one of John Jones' easiest fights of all time.
Yeah.
He would literally just take him to the ground, and it would be over. I think Ciryl Gane poses way more of it than John Jones than Alex Pereira. I think, honestly, if Pereira did go to heavyweight, which I don't think he will, obviously. I mean, he's already cutting all that weight. I think he goes to 205 if he doesn't just stay and fight Izzy again for a third fight, which I think he honestly deserves. He wants to do that again. But, no, I think the way John – I honestly went with the heavyweight real quick. I think Ciryl Gane might be a really good fight for him. That'd be really cool to see. But, no, John Jones would absolutely just torch him.
Yeah, frankly, John Jones is number one in the pound-for-pound rankings, and I don't disagree with that because he's the man. Like, he's the biggest, the strongest. He will take you down. He will beat you up on the feet. He's the best. But if you look at the rest of the division, I mean, like Ciryl Gane, Stipe Miocic, Pavlovich, while Pereira doesn't have great wrestling, he is a perfect kickboxer, and it's hard to get close to him. And so, we haven't really seen him fight a wrestler, which I think why 205 would be great for him because there are a ton of wrestlers. Magomed Ankalaev, Jan Blachowicz. It'd be great to test him, but I think that he can move anywhere really because he's so heavy and he fights, he hits so hard. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for him and the middleweight division as a whole.
No, yeah, for sure. But I do think Alex Pereira beats Jamal Hill, to be honest. Yeah,
I agree.
I think knockout, to be honest. I mean, I love Jamal Hill. I love when he proves me wrong. I hope Jamal Hill wins that fight. I'm a huge Jamal Hill fan. But, yeah, I think Pereira will win that fight.
He can knock out anyone in the UFC. He's an absolute sniper.
Absolutely. But, yeah, man, that's all I got for this episode.
I'm all good here.
Well, I'm Blake Showalter.
And I'm Beto Vaca-Diaz.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Catch you guys next time. Make sure to follow us at the 2-Minute Warning _ on Instagram. Also, follow us at the Southeast Arrow on all platforms, whatever you wish to do. Also, subscribe to our channel down below. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.